Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the 10 turn challenge for the Golden Frieza Red Zone stage. Now, I'm going to be honest, it's always difficult with like these challenges and things like that to say build this team, build that team, because everyone's got different boxes. And so to assume, if you have Broly and you have Gogeta, this 10 turn challenge is not that hard. Like, you just do 2 Brolys, a Gogeta in your team, and you're done, pretty much. At the same time, you could not have any of them. So it's a really, really, really difficult way to say, like, oh, this is how you beat this challenge. So generally speaking, though, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. So obviously the first phase. Firstly, we're facing a group of enemies. But it's only for the first phase and they are quite weak. So do not prioritize any kind of AoE. You don't need it to speed up the first phase. Clearing the first phase in 2 turns is more than fine. Yes, you have to deal with Sorbet, Captain Ginyu and the dude with horns. But generally speaking, you'll be fine to handle a lot of this. You shouldn't really have any major problems. So that first phase isn't something to be concerned around or build around. It's just something to deal with. Then things get escalate upwards. So the next 3 phases are the Int Final Form Frieza, here with his immunity to ceiling, attack lowering, defense lowering, and his ability to raise his attack. Then we have the AGL Frieza. This one obviously immune to stunning, ceiling, attack, and defense lowering as well. And then you have the final phase, which is a 2-turn countdown phase. So you have to beat the final phase in 2 turns. So if we say the first section takes 2 turns and the final section takes 2 turns, that gives you around about 6 turns to complete stages 2 and 3. I would say you want to try and beat Int Frieza in 2 turns and beat AGL Frieza in about 4 turns. AGL Frieza is definitely the hardest phase here. I find the last phase is not distinctly difficult. We'll talk about it though, but I think the AGL Frieza is definitely for me the harder phase to take on. I just think it's a tough phase. It's a tough one to beat. So yeah, aside from that though, honestly, I think pretty straightforward. Like I said, you have now the Int phase, nothing too crazy here, a little bit of a jump up in terms of difficulty, but nothing wild. The AGL phase definitely shoots up in difficulty, of that I have no doubt. Very tough section, really quite difficult to handle. And then you have the strength phase where Frieza is pretty tough, like he's pretty strong, but he isn't overwhelmingly strong. He does just have his 2-turn countdown to his super attack, which can cause you some issues. So yeah, all things considered, honestly, a really, really straightforward round. Now the team I'm using here is a Universe 6 team. There's a couple of reasons why I'm using Universe 6, but the main one is they're good in longer form content. They're good in a lot of content, but longer form content really kind of suits them. You give the Keflas the ability to transform. You give your Kale and Caulifla a little bit of an opportunity to stack. You end up just kind of getting everything's good for these kind of 10 turn-ish kind of bits of content. Everything just falls into place really well, and you can very easily just have a really, really strong performance. So yeah, really, really good. Aside from that, honestly speaking, I think, looking at this situation, this team build works really well. So as much as I say the AGL Frieza is definitely the harder phase to build for, we are building around 2 strength Keflas. And the reason is quite simple. Strength Kefla, for what it's worth, is still probably one of the strongest units in the game, especially when it comes to damage. Her Easy A made her a really ridiculous unit when it comes to damage, and so for me, building around her for damage-based challenges is a very viable strategy, just through the sheer numbers that she puts up. She can do 3 or 4, 24, 25 million level attack stats. These attack stats are backed essentially also by having crit. So she gets another super attack, she has 20% extra crit chance. All of that is really, 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 really crazy. And so when you have all of that, when you have all those built-in additionals, you have that increased crit chance rating, you have the ability to do your own additionals from your hidden potential system. She is up there with some of the top damage dealers, and she can pop off. Like, she can just absolutely go ham if you give her the right conditions. And in this event, we're able to give her those conditions quite well. And so she shreds. Like, you can see her here against AGL Golden Frieza. She shreds him. She absolutely incinerates him. Really powerful, impressive unit. Super duper impressive. So she's busting out huge attack stats. She's carrying a huge chunk of the damage payload. Really, really solid numbers from Kefla. And then on top of that, you have a very strong functional core team around her. Strength Kaba, the 50% support. Look, you don't have to bring him. Well, 60% support, I guess now. You don't have to bring him. He's great. Like, he's a rare unit to have, but he is great. Especially since you have enough strength units to activate his guard, which is super important. But Caulifla and Kale, the strength Kale, the tech Caulifla combo, really, really powerful. AGL Kale, Super Saiyan 2 Kale, really, really good. I do suggest bringing 2 strength Keflas, so I do suggest bringing a friend Kefla, or using a friend or your own Kefla, and bringing like an AGL Kale. Like, it's just like a way to really augment that damage. I think it's very, very important to do. So these combos, these combination of units are really good here. A lot because of defensive security. Like, if you look, defensive security is big. You've got Caulifla, very good, great evasion. You have, Kefla, really strong from an evasion standpoint. AGL Kale is actually quite strong as well. Once she gets going, once she gets hit, once she gets her guard and everything up, really good, like really, really good, kind of stuff. So I think for me personally, the team is really solid. There are weak points. Like, if evasion is disabled, Caulifla can be a liability. Vardos is good, but she can get caught out. AGL Kale's probably the same. She's really good, but she can be caught out. So like, there is definitely weak spots for the team. Like, here you can see we're taking some chip damage and things like that. But I think, like, for me, overall, the team does a great job. Like, I think Universe 6 is just so fun for this. And like I said, Kefla she carries the payload, man. She just goes nuts. She really does just go insane. She goes full on Captain Insano, and she's good. She's really, really good. So a really fun run for me, and a really, really good, like, just really fun showcase from these units, I think. And like Universe 6, I enjoyed their EZAs. It's nice to see them still doing hard content a couple months later with relative ease. I would say relative ease. I don't want to say like super duper easy, but I think, honestly speaking, like, with relative ease, you probably find that this team does really well on a lot of hard content. So I'm very, very, very happy about all of it. And yeah, I think ultimately for me, this team did a great job. Once you get to the strength phase, obviously evasion is disabled, but because Frieza kind of takes a step back, he's not firing as many attacks. He's not really interested in firing off attacks, and he's more interested in counting down to his super. I would say you're not in that big of a risk factor. Like, Tech, Caulifla and all that, they will have built up their defense to a certain degree, enough to take on content like that. So yeah, definitely I think for me, yeah, functionally that everything works out as you need here. So yeah, in general though, great run, great team, everything ran smoothly, and I think for me, I'm very, very happy with how it all worked out. Honestly, listen, if there is anyone who's got alternative team builds, there's lots. You know, there's movie heroes, there's hybrid sands, there's I mean, I even did this with Majin Buu Saga in my first run. I cleared in under 10 turns. So there's plenty of alternatives, but it's nice always to hear about them. So always feel free to share your builds and things down below. It helps everyone that watches the video. Not that there's lots, but I mean, it helps everyone. And I just find it interesting. I like to see what people used, because there's so many different teams, I think now, compared to when Red Zone first released. There was only like 3 teams that could handle it. Now I feel like definitely there's so many different teams people can build. It's going to be really, really cool. But yeah, that's it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you need help in the comments down below. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, as always, take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.